Why is it that us Brits really do love to queue? I found myself pondering this question last weekend when I went out for a Sunday roast in the Toby Carvery, which is quite close to my house. So I jumped into my car, and when we arrived at the restaurant, there was a queue to get into the car park. So we queued for a few minutes to get into the car park. And then after parking the car, there was a huge queue of people that were queuing to get into the restaurant. It was fully booked. So we joined the queue quite patiently, and we waited and we chatted with people, and nobody lost their temper. And we eventually got to the reception desk where we were checked in, and the head waiter showed us to our table. And great. We then were told that we could queue up for the carvery. That's what we did. But the queue for the carvery was even longer than the queue to get into the restaurant in the first place. And it literally snaked around table after table after table. And after joining the queue, that was at least another 10 minutes to get up to the front of the carvery where the chef was cutting up all the meat and we could get hold of our vegetables and everything. But it was quite a social occasion. There was a young couple in front of us that we spoke to. There was an older couple behind us that we spoke to. There was children having fun in the queue. It was a real social occasion. Again, no one was getting frustrated at all. Eventually, we got our food, we headed back to our table, and I realized that it was time to get a drink. You guessed it, we needed to queue up to get a drink from the refillable drinks machine. That took another few minutes. So eventually, I managed to sit down with my food. It must have taken maybe 20 minutes of queuing in various different queues around the restaurant, outside the restaurant. And we sat down, and I found myself pondering the whole British attitude towards queuing. And why is it that us Brits are quite happy with queuing? And I think it's something which is deeply ingrained in our culture. And it really comes from having a sense of order and a sense of fairness in our society. If you looked around the restaurant, there was literally hundreds of people in the restaurant, and there wasn't one single person that was angry, frustrated, complaining, getting agitated. In fact, it was quite the opposite. It was more an opportunity for people to socialize with each other. People that didn't know each other had the opportunity to speak to each other, all in a very light-hearted and friendly way. And this very much is part of British culture. This idea that when we are in big social groups and we need to get something, we automatically form a queue. And it's like an unspoken rule. It's just an automatic sense of wanting to have a sense of order and a sense of fairness. So if you're coming to the UK, please be prepared to queue. You may be at a bus stop, you may be at a train station, you may be in a supermarket, you may be in the Toby Carvery for a Sunday lunch. You could be in any number of places in public, and the chances are you're going to have to queue. And there is no point in getting upset about it, agitated about it, angry about it, and just settle down, enjoy it, relax, accept it for what it is. You will be served eventually, but you will be served fairly in view of the number of people that are there. And just get used to it because it's something that's very much part of our culture.